Good evening. I'm Heather Hodson, founder of Spokane Women on the Fly, board member of Spokane Falls Trout Unlimited, and Silverbow Fly Shop instructor. We are happy to welcome you to a wonderful evening of stories, art, and a celebration of community connection to your Spokane River. We're gathering here tonight on the traditional lands of the Spokane tribe. Our watershed is also within the traditional lands of the Coeur d'Alene tribe and member tribes from the Colville Confederate Tribes.
Hi, I'm Bob Bartlett, member of the Spokane Riverkeeper Board and a river fanatic. All of us want to extend our gratitude to the tribes of the Upper Columbia Basin. We acknowledge the Spokane people whose land we sit, and for their fish, land, and river insight and wisdom. Thank you. Now please welcome our first guest this evening, Spokane tribal member, Dr. Nguyen, who will start us off with a land acknowledgement.
Petsia, Lemlemch for asking for a land acknowledgement. It is good to know that you're willing to recognize and honor the ancestors and the tribe's ancestral territories that hold up the Spokane River and its tributaries and all life in, on, and around the river. We are the Scallyhoo, for which the river is named. Our relatives to the east are now called the Coeur d'Alene tribe, to the north the Kalispel, and to the west the Colville Confederated tribes. All water is connected across time and space, so please join me in acknowledging all life that currently labors to restore the connectedness that facilitates our human response to the needs of water, land, and other elements, plants, animals, and each other. The Spokane River is life, and it has a spirit that currently struggles under the weight of decades of use, neglect, abuse, and extractivism. Thank you all for caring and your willingness to engage other perspectives and maybe even open yourselves to connect those perspectives with your own. Hisquest Melody Win, Jean Win Tluhin Tum, Jim Win Tluhin Mestum. Part of this acknowledgement is that this land, this place, was here long before we showed up, and it will be here long after us. We are here for a very short time, as time goes, and the work we do is fleeting, which keeps us humble. And the work is our responsibility, which keeps us acting and moving. Please be mindful of whose land this is, not by ownership, but by responsibility and through creation story, and educate yourselves of the history and her stories that have unfolded here, that are set here, and keep up the good work as you go your way today. Lemlemsh.
Dr. Nguyen, thank you so much for that beautiful land acknowledgement. We appreciate and acknowledge that our river is a living entity. To all of you at home for joining us tonight, thank you so much. I am so glad you're here with us as we celebrate stories and connection and love for the Spokane River. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't kick off tonight by thanking our sponsors for making this evening and our work possible. As our clean river defender, Northwest Renewables has stepped up and assumed a leadership role in the protection of our river. Northwest Renewables is sponsor of the 2021 Litter Pickup Program. Clean River Champion, Patty Gates. Our Clean River Guardian sponsors, Miriam Wealth Management, Spokane Tribe of Indians, Townshend Cellars, Northwest Orthopedic Specialists, Luna Fund, and Loeb Foundation. Our Clean River Advocate sponsors, Numerica Credit Union, Bricklin and Newman, Doma Coffee Roasters, the Neighborhood Alliance, Coeur d'Alene Tribe of Indians, Upper Columbia United Tribes, Light Balance, Novellus, Kazuri, Avista, Community Building Foundation, and Silverbow Fly Shop.
Our Clean River promoter, Aquapore, Spirit Pruners, and Flyfish Spokane. The Clean River activists are Spokane Women on the Fly, Fun Unlimited, Spokane Indians Baseball's Red Band Rally, Risk Lens, Len Zickler, Remax Inland Empire, Dry Fly Distilling, Ganesh Hamal Trading Company, Fleming Family, Rolland Family, Harmonson Family, Bjorkman Family, Morkel Family, Jerry White Sr. and Linda Motter, Upper Columbia River Group Sierra Club, and Spokane Falls chapter of Trout Unlimited.
Our Clean River and Kind heroes are Imaginary Trout, Cupboard Studios, Jeff Ferguson Photography, Camp Creative, and Brick West Brewing.
And last but certainly not least, we would like to thank the entire crew at Hamilton Studio for the production of this year's virtual Spokane River. This evening would not be possible without the enormous efforts and energy of all volunteer Spokane River Committee.
We hope you will take a real look at our sponsors and acknowledge the impact these folks have, really stepping up for their community and their river.
Your dollars are powerful. When you shop in your community, we hope you are supporting the businesses that make a difference in the life of our river and our environment.
We are thrilled to be presenting you with some compelling stories tonight that highlight just a handful of our watershed's many passionate keepers. People who are connected to the Spokane River in so many unique ways.
Some are working to recover salmon for the benefit of the river and the benefit of all of our communities. Others create beautiful art that is inspired by the Spokane River. You could be a boater or angler plying the waters for native trout. And one writes novels that reflect the history of the river that runs through the heart of our land and our souls. I'm also excited to introduce to you the wonderful items that are up for auction. Thanks to generous donations from our community partners, so make sure that you take a look at the plethora of great creative pieces that you can take home with a donation to the Spokane River Keeper program. Please visit the auction page for experiences and trips on the river and other wonderful opportunities to delight you. The auction ends at 5 p.m. on Sunday, November 7th. We'll send text messages to remind bidders leading up to the auction closeout. Happy bidding.
Please look for the opportunity to donate with our platform Event Gives. How about we do a quick practice round to get everyone comfortable? Great. Can I get a $1 donation button on the screen? Thank you. Now you viewers at home should still see my face, but over my face you should see two buttons, one that says $1 and another that says Enter Amount. Anyone at home who'd like to practice getting familiar with this tool should feel free to select the $1 donation button right now. Awesome. Go ahead and see how it feels. One important thing to keep in mind throughout the evening while you're donating or bidding on the auction items. In order to make sure your donation or bid goes through, you have to click Confirm. You'll know it's working when you see confetti. So again, let's all practice clicking Confirm that $1 donation button. If at any point during our paddle raise opportunities, you can donate any amount. You can type in your own number in that Enter Amount box. You'll be prompted to type in an amount and hit Submit. Again, you'll see the confetti. So if you are having any technical issues, please reach out via the integrated chat, email, or call the number on your screen. Morgan Pepple is standing by to assist.
What follows now is a chorus of community members that are deeply connected to the river. From small businesses to organizations and artists, we are proud to highlight their voices as keepers of our river. We hope you will see yourself in this river of voices.
My name is Ann Tennelt, and I'm one of the owners here at Northwest Renewables. We install residential and commercial solar electric vehicle chargers, and ductless heating and cooling systems. Our river is really the soul of our community. Spokane started because of this river. We would not have the city of Spokane without this river. And as a business that's dedicated to combating climate change, we feel that partnering with the River Keeper aligns perfectly with our values. For years and years, centuries actually, this river has brought people together, and we need to continue to work together to protect it.
I'm John Wilmot with Flow Adventures. Flow Adventures stands for the love of water. That's how we got our acronym. I guess this is why I'm here. The Spokane River is a fabulous resource. It's important to my business. It's important for my kids. It's important for the food I eat in this area. And I just support keeping it clean.
I'm Kendra Jones, and I work with New America Credit Union. We are very lucky to have our downtown branch right next to our beautiful river. It is a focal point of Spokane. We bring our members down here. We have our own staff meetings here. It's just a quick walk over to the beautiful river, and there are so many beautiful gathering spots. And it's something that we're very proud of at the downtown branch and at New America. That's why we want to support the Spokane River Keeper.
Hi, I'm Michael Townshend. My brother and I, we co-own Townshend CELLAR here in Spokane. Our first vintage was in 1998, and we continue to craft red, white, sparkling, and dessert wine varieties in Spokane. Water is critical to our business, and we want to do everything in our power to protect the Spokane River and the natural resources that we rely on as a business. Washington Wine attributes a lot of its success to the warm days and cool nights that the river systems in Washington provide. And because of that, we want to do everything in our power to protect the rivers.
My name is Shawn Visintainer. I own the Silverbow Fly Shop in Spokane, Washington. We've been open since 1988. I started with the Silverbow in 2002 and purchased it in 2005. We operate a full fly fishing outfitter business on the Spokane River and a retail shop selling all the fly fishing gear. We support the efforts to help protect and preserve the Spokane River and also contribute to those efforts, not only for our business, but for the community of Spokane and just to improve the overall quality of life here in Spokane.
My name's Kara Odegaard, and I'm the Manager of Sustainability Initiatives for the City of Spokane. And I work with policy recommendations to City Council around issues surrounding climate and the environment. I'm born and raised in Spokane and didn't really understand the significance of our river until I came back as an adult. I want my children and future generations to have the same opportunities that I've had connecting with this river. And that's why I care so much about the work I'm doing to protect the river.
My name is Kara Quinn, and I'm with Fun Unlimited. We're a water sports rental company. I'm not from Spokane originally, and when I moved here and saw the river, I was blown away. And I don't know how to explain this, but it felt like being on a movie set because it was so clean. It just couldn't be real. Wouldn't it be so amazing to see salmon come back to the Spokane River as you're paddleboarding along the river with your, what are those glasses called? The polarized sunglasses. Yes, to see big salmon on the Spokane River would be just exciting.
Hi there, my name's Rebecca Hurlen Patano, and I'm with Doma Coffee Roasting Company. Doma's been a strong environmental leader. We feel it's important to run our business with a sustainable business model. When the opportunity to work with Spokane River Keeper came up, we jumped at it. Doma's recognizes that our rivers and all of our waterways are very important for the health of our entire community. Doma Coffee cares about conservation, and we do that in several ways. One is to support the Spokane River Keeper. The other is through some of our packaging design, where we use a biotree product that is compostable and recyclable.
My name is Jess Walter. I'm a writer, most recently of the novel The Cold Millions, lifelong Spokane resident. I don't think I've ever lived more than a couple miles from the river, and usually right along it since I was a kid. And so for me, the river means almost everything. I swim in it, I raft in it, I walk along it for inspiration, I write about it quite a bit. I think the closer we can get to returning this river to the way we found it is about the happiest ending I can imagine for a city and for civilization as a whole.
My name is Shawn Brigman. I'm the founder of SALISHAN Sturgeon Nose Canoes, and we're a local native-owned business here in the Spokane, Washington region. So as we all know, before the creation of the dams, salmon runs used to swim all the way up the Spokane River to Spokane Falls, up Latah Creek. And the reason I'm really invested in canoe recovery is the canoes were historically employed in the harvesting of that food item. And so I think it's very important to keep these rivers clean today, work with organizations such as Spokane River Keeper to clean up the river and to get this river back to what it was before the dams were created.
My name's Otto Klein. I'm the Senior Vice President and part owner of the Spokane Indians baseball team. I've been in this community for almost 30 years. And working for the team, one of the things that we talk about a lot is our moral compass. And the moral compass of this team is really about community. And there's nothing more community than looking at the Spokane River. And the Spokane River flows right through the heart of our city and is something that we need to protect. And when I look at the efforts of the River Keeper, they align exactly with what we want to do. We want to help preserve and conserve and make sure that that is the most beautiful river and healthy river that we can have.
Why isqui sahamanat kin suchmat mayam o skachet in sachchin sin mayatin. Hi, my name is Dominique Wiley Camacho and I am a teacher at SALISH School of Spokane. SALISH School kind of has a few roles, I think, in the community. One is that we do language revitalization work and support different tribal groups and indigenous people in learning their languages and getting the resources that they need in order to be successful intergenerational language speakers. The way the river informs our work is that we see it as a really integral part of culture. The river, to Indigenous people, was a life source. You know, it was how you were able to get your food. It was how you were able to transport goods. It was how you were able to get the resources to build your home in certain cases. And so life was kind of really built around the river. And then there was also this spiritual connection to the river, giving yourself that kind of freedom to just kind of let go and relax and pray if that's what you need to do, that it kind of has dual purposes for everyone.
Tonight we also bring you a film that introduces the efforts, visions, and actions to reintroduce the iconic and beloved Chinook salmon to the Spokane watershed.
Salmon were, and again must be, at the heart of our region ecology and the heart of the culture of the Spokane River and the Upper Columbia Basin. The next film is by an artist and videographer, Jeff Ferguson, and riverkeeper Jerry White Jr. It reveals the story of the tribal leadership to recover salmon to our watershed. We appreciate the partners working to support the tribal-led initiative, including Trout Unlimited and the Inland Northwest Land Conservancy. We hope you enjoy the vision of recovery.
So before construction of the dams on the river, it was home for us for thousands of years. We lived on the river, we fished at Kettle Falls, and it was a very important spiritual and cultural part of our life, our way of life. And with the construction of those dams, that was taken away from us for over 80 years now. And the importance of bringing that back, not only again for the tribes, but for everybody, is that connection.
My ancestors' relationship with salmon is since time immemorial. We have known the salmon since the beginning. It's in our creation stories, it's in our oral stories, and that beautiful fish sustained my ancestors, and until we had the salmon no more.
You know, we've lived off this land for millennia, for thousands of years, and developed a relationship and a way of life and understanding and identity that's based on our relationship with the animals and stuff that are occurring. One of those major pieces for the Coeur d'Alene tribe are salmon.
I don't think the tribe's ever surrendered to the loss of those salmon. I think it's always been in the back of our minds that one day we would bring them home. And UCUT is a centralized organization that works for those 5 tribes that bring them together on those common issues.
Hundreds of thousands of salmon used to return to the Spokane River. The tribe used to harvest historically tens of thousands of fish, ranging from all the way to Little Falls all the way to Spokane Falls, at different fishing locations along the way and from the Spokane's tributaries.
Seeing the salmon across the whole river, so plentiful, so large that you could just walk across the river on their backs.
Certainly the dominant runs of salmon within the Hangman Creek watershed were Chinook and steelhead, and we still see remnant steelhead populations in the former resident red-band trout in the headwaters of Hangman Creek. When it comes to Chinook, it was likely spring Chinook were moving into the upper watershed, and some summer Chinook were spawning in the lower part of the watershed. And as far as numbers of those fish, I would just say that historical accounts, estimate that upwards of 1,000 fish were sometime harvested within a day in lower Hangman Creek.
When we look at salmon decline within the Columbia River Basin, often the 4 H's come up: harvest, hatcheries, habitat, and hydrodevelopment. And the Upper Columbia and Spokane rivers were really impacted originally by harvest from lower river commercial fisheries and the cannery operations that targeted the June hogs, the large Chinook salmon that came up to the Spokane River. And then, of course, hydrodevelopment. First with the construction of Little Falls Dam, which originally had fish passage. However, when the subsequent dams on the Spokane River were constructed, they started to block fish passage to those really productive habitats. The main stem river downstream of the city of Spokane, Hangman Creek, and the Little Spokane River. And this was all between the 1910s and the 1930s. When Grand Coulee was constructed, completed in 1941, that was really kind of the final nail in the coffin for salmon in our region.
And then Little Falls Dam is built and blocks the salmon. Then Grand Coulee is built and totally blocks the salmon, cuts off the salmon from our tribal people.
The vision's always been there. The Coeur d'Alene tribe has never forgot salmon. It was always a part of their culture, and it always will be. And although it wasn't until the last 15 years or so that started to gain momentum regionally, really started to put the pedal down and start to get some momentum on salmon recovery back in about 2010, 2012, when the tribes in the Columbia River Basin all got together and figured that this should be a major policy change and a major goal within the basin, is to recover salmon above Chief Joseph and Grand Coulee dams.
We understand the reality of all situations since previous centuries, that our neighbors were here and we have always welcomed them with open arms. We realize that a century's worth of damage done to our waterways and our fish, we alone cannot rectify the situation. We understand that there are lots of parties involved with different interests, and we understand that we cannot get to our ultimate goals. We cannot accomplish that without our neighbors, without our friends, without our adversaries. And it's going to take a large group of people, a large number of parties to fix a century's worth of damage. We still envision a day where there are sea-run fish in the stream behind me. That is the ultimate goal, and we will not waver on that goal.
When it comes to restoration, we try to take that holistic approach and look at how all those different ecosystems tie into one another, how they support one another, and then what actions can we take to improve conditions so we can have a home for salmon when they do finally return to Hangman Creek.
Upper Columbia tribes, including the Spokane tribe, are pursuing a phased approach to reintroduction. It's described within the Northwest Power and Conservation Council's 2014 Columbia River Basin Fish and Wildlife Program. Phase 1 involved a lot of tabletop exercises. looking at existing data for habitat availability, suitability, as well as fish passage technologies that are available that might be applied to Spokane River and Columbia main stem dams. Phase 2 is real research studies that evaluate salmon survival as they migrate out of the Spokane River and down the Columbia, and as adults coming back, where we put acoustic tags, radio tags, and pit tags in fish and monitor their behavior, survival, sources of mortality to determine where we can make improvements and bring these salmon back. And phase 3 is permanent reintroduction. Depending on the results from phase 2, we'll look at the feasibility, what improvements, what sort of infrastructure might be required to have permanent reintroduction and reestablish populations within the Spokane River and Upper Columbia River watersheds. When we look at Spokane River dams and the outmigration timing of salmon and steelhead, those fish are out migrating during peak flows when the river is going over the spillways and not necessarily the turbines. So survival may be high enough to support a population where we may not even need fish passage at specific projects.
When we talk about creating water quality that can support salmon, we need to get at those root causes, like nutrient input, like high levels of erosion, solar radiation within the stream. We need to start addressing those issues so we can get a handle on providing cold water and dissolved oxygen for salmon when they return to the basin.
The Spokane River provides a really unique opportunity for salmon and steelhead, especially as we face climate change. In-stream flows are fed by the Spokane Valley Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer. That groundwater is consistently cool and provides consistent flow to the river. So these fish have cold, clean water available to them year-round, particularly in the summer when we see temperatures escalate, for instance in this year, into the triple digits for an extended period of time.
The Spokane River is water. It is sacred. Our people since time immemorial knew that the Creator provided this environment for us, and it wasn't provided to us so that we owned it or that we were to take it and do whatever we want with it, but the Creator gave it to us to take care of it.
During these cultural and ceremonial and educational releases, I was involved in some of them here, year and a half, 2 years ago, and to see the salmon swimming in those waters at Kettle Falls is very hard to describe the emotions and the feelings to see the ripples of those salmon swimming away from us as we released them. It's been 80 years since they've been in those waters, and we turned them loose and it was like they was never gone.
That relationship is something that is still there. That relationship stands there waiting for us to bring it back.
So as we look at being able to increase and return the health of our people, one of the key puzzles to that are the elements of the natural world around us, and that includes salmon, that includes the red band that are all throughout Hangman, and our ability to be able to make sure that we restore those and get those healthy and functioning. From our perspective, is a part of our wholesome health for the tribe as a whole, and as we've mentioned, important not just for the tribe but for the entire region.
Spokane isn't aware or doesn't recognize the value that salmon can provide to the community, to the ecosystem, being a subsidy of marine-derived nutrients to aquatic, riparian, and upland habitats.
When you look at economically what good healthy salmon run would entail and what it would incur, you're talking about providing benefits that are just beyond the Coeur d'Alene tribe as well.
The economy that can be supported by recreation, tourism, fishing, restoration industry, and the restoration of identity, not just for the Spokane tribe but for the city.
From our perspective, it's not about just doing what's right for our own people, it's about doing what's right for everybody around us and making sure we're finding ways to celebrate life together. And so from our perspective, as we go about and do all this work, even though sometimes it can be super challenging, we look at it as being beneficial to the entire region, not just the Coeur d'Alene tribe.
I'm extremely optimistic the salmon reintroduction can work in the Spokane and the Upper Columbia Rivers. Not because I'm an idealist and want to wish good things upon the world, but because we've seen it work. Over the past several years, the tribe has performed small-scale cultural and educational releases, where pit tag juveniles have been released to the Spokane River and its tributaries, and we've monitored those fish as they outmigrate down the Columbia River. We've seen unexpectedly high survival as those fish encounter Columbia River dams below Chief Joe. And we've had 4 adults out of 750 juveniles return back to the Columbia Basin, one of which made it as far as the Chief Joseph hatchery ladder. As far as that fish could possibly have swam, it did to reach its home waters.
To think that salmon can persist even in the conditions of the Columbia River like they are now, with so much hydro development, so much fishing pressure, and everything fighting against those salmon, and for their ability to still hold on and in some cases support natural production that can sustain a small population, gives me hope. It gives me hope that even the conditions that you see in parts of Hangman Creek, that salmon could overcome.
We have to do our part. Our ancestors did their part. Now we need to do our part, and our part is respecting the environment, keeping it clean, honoring it, and not taking advantage of it. That's important. Otherwise, it's not going to be here for our future generations.
That feeling to see him at Kettle Falls was amazing, and it's something as a tribal citizen I'll never forget. So, you know, technically the salmon are home, and we have to continue to provide them those opportunities to continue to do what they've done for thousands of years, and that's provide us with substances, with nourishment, with those cultural ties to the fish. It's just something that we're, you know, as tribal citizens, we'll never give up on. We'll never quit trying to bring them home.
Thank you, Jeff, for that emotional and intimate look at the work the tribes are doing for salmon recovery. And the River Keeper program is proud of our work in the service of your Spokane River. Protecting our watersheds with science, advocacy, outreach, and litigation. Here's a little look at the program activity.
Hi there, my name is Jerry White Jr. and I'm your Spokane River Keeper. Here at Spokane River Keeper, we say it's your river and we protect it. It's our charge to look after 111 miles of the Spokane River, from the Coeur d'Alene Lake all the way downriver until the confluence with the Columbia River. The Spokane River Keeper is a part of a larger global organization called the Waterkeeper Alliance. But we are a watershed-based advocacy organization, an organization that is always right on the river. We have a fleet of several boats, and we pride ourselves in knowing every inch of our river. The Spokane River Keeper is a community-based organization that depends on multiple partners in the community, leverages those partnerships in order to protect the river, and lift up the connections of these various communities that see themselves in the life of the river and have deep connections to the river. We protect our river using science, using community advocacy, using collaboration, and using education.
Hi, I'm Jules Schultz with the Spokane River Keeper. Today I want to talk a little bit about our science program, specifically our community science program. Our community science program aims to engage people along the river and also collect useful data that will influence policy. We collect data on turbidity, and we also have a pretty neat program collecting crayfish for mercury analysis. Our turbidity program is pretty simple. We ask volunteers to go down and sample Hangman Creek and the Spokane River to see the effect of the sediment coming out of Hangman Creek every year on the Spokane River. With that comes a lot of work, but it's work we love because we know it'll improve the river and also engage people along the river. This year we had 36 volunteers take 180 sampling runs, and that amounts to approximately 650 samples that we read on the turbidimeter. So that's easily doubling what we did the previous year. We really believe this work monitoring turbidity is vital to the health and understanding the health of our river. But as the project grows, so does the need for support. The project has started with a few samplers from Trout Unlimited taking the occasional sample, and now it's every day of the week, and we need to be on call to run these samples and to support this project. The need has never been greater, both for the Spokane River and for the Spokane River Keeper.
Another program that we have developed that's been pretty innovative, that we've been at for 6 years, has been a Riverside Litter Pickup Program. Recently, we've taken on a partnership with Spokane River Forum in that, but we also partner with the City of Spokane at code enforcement. We partner with many other small businesses like Northwest Renewables, Flow Outfitters, to be out there on the river and addressing a need that frankly in many cases is not being addressed. We have an urban river, thousands of pounds of litter, well over 20,000 pounds of litter off of the banks of the river this year. Hundreds of volunteers saw ours out picking up. And what this allows us to do is, one, stop pollution. So whether we know it or not, much of that garbage is plastic. It's a terrible pollutant that gets into our river. But secondly, it allows hundreds of people to come experience the river, learn something about the river, spend a little time with their river, and then enjoy doing something beautiful for the community. And what we found is it's a gorgeous outreach tool. So we actively seek sponsorships and partnerships for that program. It has been so successful. The community and the river itself has told us in many ways that we need to keep going. And we are hoping that in 2 or 3 years that we will double the size of this program.
Our funding partners are huge, all the way from individual donations to primary litter cleanup sponsors such as Northwest Renewables. It all makes a huge difference, and it allows us to get on the river more and clean up more trash, and so that's really what we're after.
So this season we were out on the river all season long taking temperature data. Because of this, agencies like Washington State Department of Wildlife, Department of Ecology, and others were talking to us. Oftentimes the agencies don't have the resources to collect those data. We also really are thin on the resources to collect those data, but we respond to the community need and we make it happen.
A huge reason behind what we do to monitor the health of the Spokane River is global climate change. We found that when we started our river temperature program, we're the only people taking continuous temperature in the Spokane River. And we've expanded that program dramatically as the need arises.
As agencies in the communities call us and express this need, we don't hesitate, we don't stop, we go do it. But this stretches our resources extremely thin. And it allows us to occupy that niche that nobody else is occupying, but is extremely important. And you know, one of the things that we're doing on a regular basis is trying to fill those gaps in resources and make sure that we don't have to stop collecting data or stop having a presence on the river.
Hi, I'm Chastity Kolb. I'm a graduate student at Oregon State University, and I've been interning with the Spokane River Keeper since May. So the state has water quality standards again for aquatic life. This reach of the river out here near the Idaho state line has already violated the temperature standard for water quality, and the high temperatures stress the fish out. They increase their metabolism, and that's especially dangerous for young red band trout.
The Spokane River Keeper uses existing laws and policies like the Clean Water Act and the Washington Water Pollution Control Act to ensure that those entities that interact with the river are doing so legally and taking care of the river for the public and the public's legal uses. The hope of our future is the recovery of salmon. Salmon were once the lifeblood of our Spokane River. They imported incredible amounts of ocean nitrogen and fed all of the little creatures in the ecosystem in our river. They also supported civilizations who have been here for millennia and will again. They will also provide joy, recreation, and the satisfaction of knowing we have a healthy river when they return from the Columbia. Here at Riverkeeper, we support the effort of recovering these fish, and more, our core mission at every turn is to support those visions and efforts of recovery that are underway by the Upper Columbia River tribes.
But river keeping is also about community support, a community of keepers. We consider every one of these community members river keepers too.
Here at Northwest Renewables, we're keepers of this river, and we're asking you to be one too.
I'm Jess Walter. I consider myself a river keeper. I hope you'll be a keeper as well.
At Townshend, we are so proud to be a part of the River Keeper community, and we encourage you all to become keepers yourselves.
Here at Silver Bow, we value the Spokane River, and that's why we're keepers, and we would like you to be a keeper too.
I'm Kara, and I'm with Fun Unlimited. I'm a keeper, and I'm asking you to be a keeper too.
Here at the Spokane Indians, we're river keepers. We want you to be a river keeper too.
We're river keepers, and we want you to be river keepers too.
At Flow Adventures, we're all keepers, and we invite you to join us and be a keeper too.
My name is Kara, and I'm an environmental policy advocate for the city of Spokane. And I consider myself a keeper. I want you to be a keeper too.
Here at DOMA, we're river keepers, and we hope that you will become a river keeper too.
My name is Shawn Brigman, Spokane tribal member, and I'm also a Spokane river keeper. And I think it's important for us to get back to the river, respect it, protect it for future generations. And I invite all of you to also participate in the protection of this river and to become river keepers.
And we want you to be a river keeper too.
Now it's time for you all to locate the donate button on your screen. And remember that your support is necessary to give your river a voice of protection when and where it matters.
The hope of the river in our region is to have salmon return to our water. But in support of this effort, we need clean, healthy water with a habitat that will welcome our fish home. Spokane Riverkeeper needs your support to protect our waters and ensure the visions you have heard tonight. If you can give $5,000, you will have paid for a trailer to haul the mountains of trash from our riverside cleanup. Remember, you can choose your own amount at any time. Awesome, thank you all so much. This is amazing. Michael, Visintainer, Kara, Connor, Nancy, Logan, Dr. Keeve, awesome.
If you can give $2,000, you will have paid for 7 education and water sample trips for Jewel with Salish school students.
If you can give $1,000, you will finance new oars and trailer storage for our 2 rafts. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone. Chad, Kara, you all, this is incredible. Thank you. $500? Awesome. Thank you. So appreciated. The Spokane River needs you.
$500 buys a new turbidity meter and sample bags to collect legally defensible pollution data from Hangman Creek.
Thank you to whoever just donated with your phone number. Someone should just donate because Bob said turbidometer correctly.
How about that? Yes.
That's a tough one. Thank you all so much. $100 will get us onto the river for one trip with volunteers to pick up litter. $100. We can pull and take all those mounds of trash out. Thank you so much, Catherine. Awesome.
$50 is a box of 200 litter bags. Can't do it without litter bags.
Mandy, thank you so much. Awesome.
That's 400 bags, Joel.
If you can give $25, then you provide new gloves or a litter gripper for trash cleanup. Remember, no donation is too small, and it supports the river keeper, your river, and nature. And they break a lot, so it's really, this is definitely something just safety-wise, but also that we need this is a tool that we need a lot. So $25 for these. Anything helps. Again, thanks so much for your contributions. Please do visit the silent auction. We've got some amazing books and experiences up for grabs. All proceeds go to the Spokane River Keeper program.
The auction will close at 5 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, November 7th, 2021. For those of you registered and bidding, you'll continue to receive text messages up until the final few minutes to ensure you are informed about your bidding status. Hey, good luck, bidders.
We really appreciate your presence and your generous donations tonight. We wish you a happy and hopeful holiday season, and we look forward to the time when we all, once again, can shake hands, hug, and gather together live and loud.
As a final thank you, we leave you to enjoy the Salmon Song, sung by our future, the high school students at the Salish School of Spokane. Take care, and we will see you out there on the river. Good night.